Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Soph. I know I'm in a slightly different background. I'm in my living room right now on a little swivel chair. I just wanted to be cozy and have a chill video with you guys because I'm going to be giving you a little update on my little spooky experiences. You know how it is. So those of you who follow me on, like, watch my videos regularly and follow me on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, you will probably know that I have recently moved house and everything is fine. Like, it's cool, but I feel like I'm home alone now, so it's a little bit harder for me to talk about these things because I don't want to make anything worse, obviously. But I think things might be happening here. When we first moved in, the day we moved in, the day we brought all our stuff over and we got the keys and everything, I walked in and I just felt like a different energy to our energies. Nothing major, just, you know, it just felt a bit different. And then it kind of started when Connor's mum put a mirror at the end of a hallway and I was like, no, don't do that. That's like, if you don't want spooky things to happen, that is the worst way for you to handle things. Like, just don't put it at the end of the mirror. Like, we were all like, no mirrors at the end of the hallway. It's a no-go. So then, after that, she was in the garage, which is the other end of the house to here. So we were all in here, and she was in the garage moving some boxes around. And she walks in, and she just goes, okay, so who has been throwing balls at me then? Like, who threw a ball at me? And we were all like, her partner was like, there was a ball in a bucket in there, I saw it earlier. And she was like, no, it just flew past my head and into the bucket. And we were all like, ooh, that's a little bit spooky, because we were literally all in here, like, we were all having a conversation. And she walks in from the door, literally to the right of me now, and says, who threw a ball at me? And we were like, none of us did. But she claims that a ball flew past her head as she was like bent over doing something and into the bucket that was like next to her. So there's that. And then there was also there's been a time where I've been home alone, just like today, but this time the dog wasn't here either. So there was literally no reason for there to be any noises. And I was upstairs in our bedroom. I was just watching some YouTube videos and I could hear a noise, so I paused my YouTube video and there was so much banging coming from downstairs. Like, it sounded like things were falling out of cupboards, and I don't know, just things falling and being knocked and cupboards shutting and stuff. And I was like, okay, so either this is the little spirit that could potentially be here, or my house has been broken into and I'm about to be murdered. So I stayed in my room until Connor came home. I had a pair of scissors next to my bed, so I was like holding on to those just in case it was like a real human. But yeah, so that was like quite spooky. And then the most chilling one to happen, and there has been times where like I've heard moving in the garage, but that could just be like, I don't know, like a mouse or something. I'm not claiming that to be anything, but I have heard moving in the garage when nobody's been in the garage. But the spookiest one probably came from Connor, because he's a little bit of a skeptic. Like, he believes me when I tell him stuff, but he probably wouldn't believe many other people. And he said to me, bear in mind he told me just before I was about to go to sleep as well, which was the worst time to possibly ever tell me. He said to me that when I was at work one day, he was having a nap, and it makes me feel sick. He was having a nap and he felt something get on the bed with him on my side. Like, you know, like when someone gets on the bed and the mattress like goes down or whatever. He felt like that next to him. Like, that's the most chilling one to me. Again, I don't feel like I'm in danger or anything. I know how to keep my aura and everything good. But that was just a little bit unsettling to me because that's my side of the bed. I don't want to know about that. And I've also had, like, there was a time where I woke up before 3 a.m. So, like, between 2 and 3. And I sleep facing a window. Like, there's literally a window, like, right opposite my bed where I have my head. And I don't put the blind down. And I looked, because I was facing the window anyway, so when I opened my eyes, I was automatically looking out the window. And I thought I could see the reflection of a man standing on the other side of the room. But I'm not thinking too much into that because I was like half asleep, so there it is a high possibility that my brain was like, you know, tricking me. So I'm not playing too much into that one, but the other ones are quite spooky, and I would just have to keep you guys updated. There was also literally just now, as I was planning on filming this video, I went upstairs to get the camera, and I have a little bunny rabbit that I like hug if I'm feeling unwell or sad or like depressed or something. And it was on the floor, and I just went upstairs, and it was literally in the middle of my bed against my pillow. So I don't know how that got there, because I 100% do not remember doing it. I'm not saying I didn't do it, but I 100% do not remember doing it. So unless I'm going crazy, I don't know why that rabbit was on that side of the bed. Like, I don't know. And there's also, this isn't to do with the house, but while we're on the topic of like paranormal stuff, there's also times where I'm at work, or I'm just doing stuff, and I will literally hear a voice like right in my ear, and then I turn to the person that's near me and I'm like, what did you say? And they're like, I didn't say anything. So I don't know what that's about, but I feel like things are picking up again, which is okay as long as like everyone's safe. I did put a Reddit out about scary stories, so I'm gonna end this video with somebody else's story, because obviously I don't have many. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on where I am in my paranormal experiences. But I'm just gonna go get my phone and find a scary story for me to read to you. Okay, so this is a sad one, but it could be something. So the title is My Grandfather Passed Away Today. My grandfather / father, because he adopted me, passed away from COVID-19 today at 67. I still live with him and my grandma. It's been a tough day, but about 2.5 hours ago, my TV, which has never given me problems, started turning on and off randomly. Very randomly. I unplugged it and plugged it back in, and it continued to do so. Me and my family joked that it was my grandpa showing us that he's okay. It continued to do so. About half an hour ago, I turned on my TV, and it was back to normal. It was strange, but I would like to think that it was my grandpa sending us a message that he's okay. That one's really sweet, and if you ever stumble across this video, I'm so sorry for your loss. Even if it's not, just take it as a message, because it will probably make you feel better. We have another one here called The Man in the White Suit. I've briefly talked about him in the past on this thread, but I'll give a little backstory on him, as I've come to terms that soon enough he will be able to touch me. That is horrible. So when I was a child, the man in the white suit made his first appearance during a choir rehearsal at my local library. He's a black man in his 50s with a fully white suit and a top hat. He does nothing but stare and have the most stomach-turning grin on his face. He started at around, I would say, 30 feet away, and every time I see him he gets closer and closer. This most recent encounter, he was less than 5 feet away, and now his right arm is beginning to raise. It has normally been in his pocket. Ugh, I can literally imagine it, and it makes me feel the fear. And I hear the most piercing high-pitched noise I've ever heard from him. I used to think he just showed up when I was my happiest. Choir solo, work promotion, wedding, etc. But come to realise it isn't the case. It's my most nervous state that he shows up. Yesterday he showed up when I accidentally broke my family heirloom. A vase my grandpa had handmade. There is nothing I can do when I see him, as my body is in a deep trance-like state, and I feel my energy being sucked out. I can't even scream out for help, and yesterday I slept for 14 hours straight after my encounter. I don't know what he is, but I know for sure that he's here for malice, whatever that means. If anyone has any similar encounters, please share, or have any recommendations to get rid of him, please help. That was very chilling, and I feel a bit sick from reading that. I'm gonna go for one more because I really like reading these stories. So the title for this one is Pretty Sure I Spent a Month in a Haunted Apartment. I'd pretty much just put all of this out of my mind, but since it happened a year ago this month, I guess it's coming up in my mind again. Last summer, I was set to move into a brand new apartment with 2 friends. However, due to some construction delays, our apartment was not ready in time, so the landlord offered to put us up in another building for a month until everything was finished. That is how I wound up staying in this god-awful place. When I first toured through the apartment, I found it was a little creepy, but since my roommate thought it was fine, I shrugged my feelings off as the result of the harsh fluorescent lighting and the fact we visited on a rainy evening. However, this feeling did not go away. Every moment I spent in the apartment, I could not escape the feeling of being watched. This uncomfortable feeling increased whenever I was alone, which was often due to the fact that both my roommates were working full-time while I was still waiting for my internship to start. Lots of weird stuff seemed to happen only when I was alone. Since we were only staying a month, we never bothered to really unpack. By myself, I would hear things constantly shift and loudly rustle in the boxes for the full month I was there. Things would bang in the cabinets, fall off tables, and this would all stop as soon as my roommates returned. At one point, our recycling began rustling and banging so loudly I was convinced there must have been a mouse in it, but upon finally dumping it out onto the floor, there was nothing there. At some times, I would become so overwhelmed by the constant and increasing noises that I would simply leave the apartment and sit on the front step. The worst moment came when I was getting ready to go out and I heard something knock clearly and loudly 3 times on my dresser. I left immediately. Up until that point, I had kept my feelings to myself, not wanting to disturb my roommates unnecessarily. However, that night, I text my very skeptical mom, friend, roommate to ask if she'd heard anything weird in the apartment, to which she responded, yes, it's the only time I've ever thought maybe there's a ghost. After that, I stayed with my boyfriend for the remainder of the month and returned only every few days to get fresh clothes, leaving as quickly as possible. I know this all sounds rather tame compared to the things posted on this sub, but I truly never experienced the kind of dread I felt every time I entered that apartment. I've lived in 11 different houses and apartments and never once felt uncomfortable on my own. It's a terrible thing to feel afraid in your own home or like your sanity may be slipping away from you. I honestly pray I never wind up stuck somewhere like that again. Well, that one was interesting to say the least. I would probably get out of there. So I somehow completely forgot to film a outro for my spooky paranormal update thing. So this is it. That is all from me for today, guys. I am looking into doing some true crime videos. I've also ordered a gaming PC, so I will be streaming and doing Sims videos again. It's literally on its way. It's gonna arrive by like the first couple of weeks of June, so if you want to keep an eye out for those videos, make sure you give us a subscribe and a big thumbs up and drop a comment down below like what you want to see, because I'm seriously lacking inspiration and I need some help. But yeah, so that is all from me. Bye guys.